There's science and there's fiction, and it's super cool. So try to decode the message received from outer space 70 years ago. Nicky Tomlin, do it! Because I'm telling people to listen. Don't miss a second of this show. Subscribe to The Message on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. This episode is Mr. Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, Nerdist Community Corkboard. Let's promote being nice to each other and fostering understanding and having conversations and appreciating everything that we have and being nice to people around you. Okay, good. That's the corkboard. Dan Radcliffe on the podcast, returning. God, Daniel Radcliffe is like the coolest, fucking nicest guy in the world. He's such a good dude. He's such a good dude. This was, we recorded this a few weeks back. He had asked me to speak on his behalf at the dedication of his star on the Walk of Fame, and it is a sweet location. It is right in front of the Chinese Theater and across from El Capitan, and yeah, he's just a good guy. So I'm very excited to have him back on, and he is promoting Victor Frankenstein, which is in theaters now. You should go see it this weekend. What else are you going to do, huh? Get away from the family for a couple minutes and go see Victor Frankenstein. Always promote everything that Daniel Radcliffe does. Good guy. Love him. So here we go. This is the Nerdist Podcast number 764 with Daniel Radcliffe.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
Because I'm a big At Midnight fan.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
And it's some of the most... It was really like watching that kind of made me go... Like, this shit's really cool. Like, really cool people like Harry Potter. Like, because, you grow up being slightly self-effacing about it, and it's like... And suddenly, I don't know, there's just something about the jokes that people make about it are so full of love, and like
absolutely,
it's like and they're also some of the few good Harry Potter jokes I ever fucking hear, because I've heard them all and they're mostly shit now, and like so like it's like that's and I was just like that's and you're also, I feel like you are a bastion of you stand for a lot of people who never have to apologize for how much they love something, whatever that thing is.
No, I never want people to, because I had to when I was growing up, and I didn't, my pre-internet proto-nerd era was just like, well, you get 3 people in school who like the same stuff, and then no one else.
Yeah.
And now, everything's so
there's something kind of great about that. I feel like as well, like that's the other reason I love At Midnight is one of the few things that like makes me feel good about the internet.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
It's very, because like sometimes you can get very bogged down in it, and it's like, no, there's some really like clever and funny stuff happening.
There's good places.
There's a lot of goodness.
It's not all caps and hate.
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly.
There's some good parts.
Just YouTube.
I mean, anytime you feel like you'd want to come on, I think.
Oh, I don't think I could.
You're funny though. You were funny.
I'm not like, because we do it. We me and my girlfriend like try and play along at home, and like particularly with what's around? I'm trying to think of called.
Which one? Hashtag Wars.
Yes. Wars. And we have had some really good ones, but like I don't think like on the spot. I think I'd just be so terrified. I have so much respect for when like actors go on there. And like people who aren't like straight up comics, and like when you do like some specials on like for a TV show.
Yeah.
Man, you're brave. Because that seems like the hardest.
But the show is designed to, everyone. The show is designed to be as supportive as possible.
Oh,
so it's never. Yeah. So it's not like, aha, we gotcha. You fucked this one up.
But that's what's great about it as well. Because it's the type of show that. Has existed in England for there's been loads of versions.
You have like a channel of them.
It's basically that's the route to become a comedian in England. Like I feel like you do, that's like what a lot of people want to get on to get on that and then get on Live at the Apollo, and like that's the route that a lot of people take. But like but what a lot of those shows and what kind of the most prominent of those shows has done it started off great, but then like now it's just the sense of competition on it is like vicious, and whereas like you feel on your show it just never seems like that. Like it's just there's a lot more. Yeah, it's very sort of warm, and that's a lot to do with you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, well, I always wanted it to feel like, you know, like I know almost everyone who comes on. There's sometimes people come on that I haven't met, but ultimately, I just want it to feel like, we're all hanging out and fucking around, and this is what it's like to be hanging out with comics.
And you introduced me via that to Ron Funches.
Ron Funches!
As well, like,
Ron Funches!
God,
the best!
Just, he's one of those comedians that, like, you just start smiling from the moment that, from the moment he opens his mouth, because the voice is quite unexpected, and it's got that, like, that fantastic, like, measured speech saying the funniest shit.
And he happens to be hilarious too. Like everything about him, I think he would destroy in England. I think if he went to England, he would fucking destroy.
I think he would, absolutely.
Because he's got kind of the silly, soft presentation with really smart jokes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so thank you for
oh my God, of course. I want to go to England and I want to go perform, and I was talking to Jimmy Carr about coming over and doing...
I don't know. 8 out of 10 cats. You should
8 out of 10 cats. Maybe 8 out of 10 cats. And he was like, "You should do QI." And I'm like, "I don't." That one scares me.
You would also love QI.
I love it, but
you should totally go on QI. You would have a trove of information.
I think I'd be too nervous to meet Stephen Fry. Like, there's some people where you're just like,
he's so nice though.
He seems really cool.
He's really cool, and he's also like. He is human. Like, he doesn't know everything. Like, he is an encyclopedia, but he's not intimidating when you meet him at all. Like, because he's just like he talks about normal shit too. He's not just constantly going around being, you know, verbose and intelligent. He does, you know. He's great. I've been fortunate to meet him a few times, and hung out with him a bit, and he's great. You should really go on that show. You should go on that, and definitely 8 out of 10 cats you enjoy. You could also there's a great thing they do now called 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown, which is there's a quiz show during the day, which is traditionally watched by like students and older people and me, and that is about basically like you get I think 8 or 9 letters and you have to find the longest word you can make out of it, and then there's a numbers round which I fail miserably at and don't pay attention to. But then what they've done now is it's a very straight up quiz show during the day, and then what they do now they have 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown, where they just like get a load of comedians on and do the exact same show but with people who are just shit at the game and like sometimes don't try and they're like I have a one-letter word J. Like it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I want to. It's really my work schedule has prevented me from going to England because I can't. I only forget.
And you do the Talking Dead, and you're doing a tour all the time, isn't it? Because you like say the Fun Comfortable tour at the end of every show.
It never stops. I'm shooting the special in January that's going to be this tour as a special. And then I start touring again like a month later with the new, like I have to start the new one.
Dude.
So it just you know, but I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I love it. I love it too much. But you know, like when you...
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work.
Well, yeah, exactly. And when you go through these periods where you get opportunities to cool stuff, you're like, I gotta do that. Why wouldn't I? Of course I gotta do that.
One day people might not be asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. It's you've got, like, that's, I mean, like... I feel like that's what my life's been composed of largely. It just is the opportunity to somebody saying, "Do you want to do this crazy thing?" And me going, "Yeah."
But not everyone would appreciate it though, and that's the thing I said. And first of all, I was so honored that you asked me to speak at the presentation of your star.
So you did it.
And Chris Columbus, who is a freaking legend.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
He's the nicest guy. Nice.
But honestly, what I said is absolutely true. Is that I think the best thing that people should know about you is just what a nice, down-to-earth guy you are, when all of the evidence could suggest that if you weren't, people would go, okay, yeah, I get it. He's been in the business a long time, and he's in this big... But just the fact that you are just like a sweet guy, that's such an important thing.
It doesn't... I mean, in a way, thank you, first of all. Also, like, it's such a hilariously low bar to have to hit as like an actor that, like, if you're just like a fairly decent person, people are like, this is amazing, how did this happen? And so like it's kind of sad that, like, I don't know, that, like you said, like if you know, people would understand. They go, "Oh, well, he's been in the business a long time." This is a really fucking great business. Like, there's no reason that being in this business should screw you up. And it always seems like, I think there are, like, some people who are, you know, who you hear stories about who are mad that are genuinely, like, probably, like, slightly mentally unwell. I think there's always going to be some of them. But I think a lot of the time it is, like, some weird choice and something insular about like people who want to live in a just echo chamber where I don't know they hear they're fantastic all the time. And I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I also think that like the vast majority of actors are totally cool. It's just that the ones who are dicks, you hear stories about and you get reputation. But I think I think they're getting fewer and far between. I've worked with so few. Like, I mean, I've heard gazillions of stories, but actually only encountered it like once or twice.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because when I was talking to Chris about it before you got there, I was saying, Dan's such a nice guy, and whenever you meet someone who was a child actor who grew up in the business and they turn out to be cool, it's usually because their parents had very good parents. And Chris said, it was one of the things about when we were casting Harry Potter, we actually were casting parents as well.
Yeah.
Because they knew that this was going to be a journey, and they didn't want to have any craziness with parents. And he said, so like all the main kids, like all the parents everyone was just cool. It was just really cool.
I mean, I as I said, like in my speech, and they always, I'm incredible because everyone always thinks that showbiz parents are going to be pushy, and like my parents are so not pushy, but I rarely ever talk about it because as soon as you start talking about it in other people's minds, you're like maybe protesting too much or something. So like I just very rarely talk about them, and they were always like between every film they would say to me, are you still happy? Is this still something you want to do? Like, it was never, I'm not somebody who, is living their dreams for them, even though they were both actors when they were young. But I never felt, like, pushed towards anything and today, like, several times throughout the day, everyone was like, do they want to come on the stars and, like, get pictures done and stuff? And I would just kept looking over at them and I was going, no, don't, please. And so, I got insanely lucky with them and the fact that they knew the business. So even if they hadn't because they hadn't ever done many films. My dad has one acting credit on IMDb, but they which is actually a film with Maggie Smith and like Bob Hoskins. And loads of people that I ended up working with later on. Weirdly,
did they remember working with your dad?
No.
Okay.
My dad had one line, and they cut away from his bloody face when he says it. He's young priest, and his line was, I think, but why would she do such a thing?
They cut away.
And they cut away from
What was the movie?
The Lonely Passion of Miss Judith Hearn.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, could there be a more British sounding film? That is the most British sounding film.
The Lonely Passion of Miss Judith Hearn.
That really hits everything right there.
It really does.
I mean, the only thing that could make it more of it were like Sherlock Holmes presents. And then,
it was. Yeah, no, it's. I never watched it. We watched it. I bought a copy of it once because we got taken with the idea of it. But when we got taken with the idea of it, we happened to be in Spain. So the only copy of it we could find, and we did we found a copy of it. There was just one in the first place we went into. I don't know if it was a big movie there. I'm sure it's probably not. But it was called La Pasión de Soledad or something great sounding.
Your dad may have an Oscar waiting for him in Spain. You don't even know.
But we got it, and so we watched him I think dubbed maybe or subtitled as well or
Is
something.
that young priest over there?
Yeah,
it was young priest.
And I think he was maybe. Is he lifting? I think maybe he has a scene. I think maybe Maggie's in the scene. I think maybe she is the she that he is saying. Why would she do such a thing about?
That's amazing.
So I was to have people that knew a bit about the industry and from various sides of it. And they really guided me through and just how to be on set and how to be focused. I remember and you do it by screwing up. I remember in the audition phase of Potter, when I had the part and they were auditioning people to play Malfoy, there was a kid that came in, and I still feel bad about this sometimes. There was a kid who came in and he had to say the line, "I'm Malfoy, Draco Malfoy," and he chose to give a absolute James Bond reading of that line, Malfoy, Draco Malfoy. And my 10-year-old, 11-year-old self found that funny and laughed on his first take. And it's his audition, which it's a dick thing to do. Even at 10 or 11, it's still come on. And I remember turning around to the back of the room. I just saw my mum looking at me don't you laugh in this kid's audition. Oh. And I was just okay, yeah, really good point. Did not laugh anymore. Stuff like that.
That's pretty funny, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was now. I mean, I'm sure he's fine. So I'm sure he's not like I'm sure he hasn't been thinking about it. Like, oh God, I hope not. What if he has?
And then that motherfucker laughed.
And my perfect line delivery.
He's like, could have been Draco.tv. It's just all of the. He's just cut himself into all the films. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I feel like, when I did the thing today, I thought, well, I don't want to make a bunch of. I made one reference to it because, I should make one reference to it, but it is. But I know, and you've done so many other things, which were, so many other people would have just done that and then well, that's it. But you've made so many bold, interesting choices since then, and so I think it'll end up being one of those things. Hey, it's really cool. He was Harry Potter, but he's done a billion other things since then.
That's what I hope for. But I've also definitely accepted a long time ago that Harry Potter's always going to be the thing I'm probably first and foremost associated with, and I'm very much okay with that. There's this weird narrative that everyone wants to write, I think, about people coming out of franchises, that you either have to reinvent yourself and disown whatever had gone before and then do new stuff, or just do that forever and that'd be the only thing you're known for. And it's weird that you can obviously do both. You can obviously still be incredibly proud of what you've done and do other stuff, because as much as there's there will probably if say half the directors and casting directors and people who are likely to give me jobs in the industry were thinking, oh, he's only going to ever be Harry Potter after I've finished those films, and I don't happen to think it was that high a number, but say it's absolutely half the people out there, the other half were going, oh, but I wonder if he'd like to try this. Right. I wonder what he'd do if he was doing this. People get excited about the opportunities to be the one to reinvent you.
Absolutely.
People give you that chance. And as long as you take it and try and do the best job with it that you can. And I feel if there's the best thing one of the best things I inherited from my dad was, I think, taste in scripts, and that's what he was. He was a literary agent, and he worked for writers and directors, and so I feel like that's the thing that I have in my arsenal that nobody. That when you're doing interviews at 18 and people are saying oh, what are you going to do after this? That's the thing that I had that gave me confidence, was I think I can pick scripts and I think I can pick good projects, and also I've been freed from the any kind of pressure to look. Obviously, if a film is commercial and loads of people go and see it, that's great. But I've also been in the most commercially successful thing that I'm ever going to be in. There's no way that I could do something that would make $5 billion or whatever it is. I don't know. Unless I build a rocket and sell it to NASA. I don't know how else I don't know how I could do that. So it's. There's since that's done, I can I feel like I'm in a position where I can afford to make choices based on is this going to make me happy, and that involves challenging me and doing something I haven't done before, and just being fun and working with people I want to work with. Most of my friends who are my age and act, if they get a horrible shitty job with people they hate, they have to do it, and so to not have that is ridiculous at 26.
Well, I think people know. I think people on some level they have a molecular understanding when you're doing something just because you like to do, because you want to do it. So they go, oh, horns is really interesting, and that obviously just feels like that was something that was really important to him, and not, oh, he's chasing an audience and he's trying to. You just it seems like, oh, you do stuff because you're passionate about something.
Yeah, and because I feel like that's how most people would like to, guide their careers, but it's just not an option that's open to everyone. And I'm very fortunate that I do have that. So yeah, that's what I like, and I get to do crazy. The film I want you to look out for and see that I've got coming up as well. I know I'm obviously here to promote Victor Frankenstein, and,
yes.
and that's what everyone should be going to see on Thanksgiving, obviously.
Yes.
But I did another crazy thing called Swiss Army Man.
Yes.
Which with the Daniels brothers. The Daniels brothers, they're not fucking brothers. What are they called? There's Daniel Shiner and Daniel Kwan. They're definitely not brothers.
They're technically Daniel brothers because they have the first name.
Yeah,
Daniel,
exactly. So
they're
there
brothers
you go.
in name.
Hello, Matt.
Matt Myra is
Hey,
Good
man.
to see you, Dan.
Good to see
Myra's
you.
joined us.
Hello, good to see you, Chris.
Matt, Myra, how are you?
Someone wrote Nerdist on the calendar. That meant any of 3 places. I was at the wrong ones.
Oh, no! Sorry, it's very rare that we're here at this space. We usually do these at midnight.
Oh, okay, cool.
So what's this movie?
So yeah, it's a weird one. I've kind of been a bit of a tease here because I'm gonna say now, like, I don't want to tell you too much about it because it is. I'll give you the crazy line, which is it is about a guy who is kind of self-imposed exile in the woods, living like in the wilderness, and he finds a dead body, and the dead body and he have a very heartwarming and amazing adventure together.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Sounds like Castaway.
it's.
So that was a volleyball.
But like, I am talking Wilson.
No, that's the after show I host about Castaway.
About Castaway.
Called
I am
Wilson.
talking Wilson.
Yeah.
Airs every 3 months on the movie channel.
So what did you love about the movie?
It was one of the greatest professional experiences I've ever had because the directors were, as well as being geniuses, and I don't say that lightly, but like the stuff they do, and they have their technical knowledge means that like so much of it was done like without visual effects and just through being very clever with cameras and tricks, and like just they are the guys that did the video for Turn Down for What?
Oh, right.
Where everyone's just like humping stuff and
I've
falling
heard
to
of
the
that
floor.
song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they basically know, like, pretty much everyone on that crew has either worked for them for like 6 years or went to college with them.
Oh,
so
that's
like
awesome.
the atmosphere on there was just amazing, and watching like the art department find stuff just like in the woods. We were filming in the woods in California, and they would just be building sets out of stuff that they were finding. It was really like just an amazing, because that's, you know, what I was sort of talking about earlier a little bit in the speech as well, was just like the thing that is amazing about making films and about that experience for me is the fact that it is collaborative, and the fact that you are in the middle of probably the greatest number of people doing the most varied number of disciplines, all towards making one thing happen. And that's like when, you know, that feeling of being in the middle of that, and of like, that's what like whenever I can help out with something like that's not acting involved, I do as well, just because it's like, I don't know, it's you feeling a part of that sort of community feel, and because that's what I had growing up on Potter as well, was like everyone was there for a long time, so we knew each other really well, and so that's why it was, when you get that feeling on a set like Swiss Army Man, which was only like a 25-day shoot, we were essentially shooting an action movie in 25 days.
Oh my God.
Because it's like, what did somebody say it was like? They said it was like if Terrence Malick was directing a Farrelly Brothers movie. It was how somebody described it. And I was like, yeah, that's probably about right. Just like beautiful shots of ridiculous shit.
When does that come out?
I don't know. I like, fingers crossed, maybe like it'll be doing some festivals at the beginning of next year. It went through the Sundance Labs, so I don't know if that means it'll be there, but I hope it will.
I mean, so you're talking about Community, and the thing that I think the Victor Frankenstein panel at Comic-Con this year was one of my favorite panels to do.
Oh, cool.
Because you and James McAvoy had such a great relationship.
Yeah.
And ultimately he pinned
It's
you
a
up
huge
against the
compliment
wall.
because he did 11 panels.
I did.
That is,
That's
thank
a
you, my
huge
God,
compliment.
11 panels.
But you know what's
Jesus.
but when you're doing a lot of panels, you know, the thing about it is you have to drive a lot of it because not every
Yeah.
actor is comfortable about talking in front of 7,000
Right,
people.
yeah.
They also don't know what they can and can't say. It's a very surreal experience. They're
Right.
tired because they just flew in for that. So when you guys come on and you're fucking around and you're really fun and funny
Yeah.
and cool, it just makes it so much more fun and easy for me.
Yeah, well, James and I definitely, like, we counteract that by just like not caring about a lot of that stuff. Like, I think we like think about it later. Like, should we have said that? Maybe not. I mean, it's fine. But that's the thing. I think we also, I've always been like, I know. I think maybe that's an advantage of starting young as well, is that you have no other option in interviews but to be yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're so young, you're not going to try and like do a character or be somebody you're not. You haven't got those systems in place yet. So like I didn't have that option.
Plus,
So
you're
you
not guarding anything because you're not
Right.
nothing to guard. You're a
yeah,
kid.
exactly. So, like, I think that you sort of learn that, like, being yourself is actually enough. Like, you don't have to try and be that more than that. And if you do, on the rare occasions that I have tried to be more than that, it normally goes very
It always backfires.
Like, a dick.
There's
That's
no-
why I have a strict policy of never trying to be funny at awards shows. Just, like, whenever I'm presenting an award and they're like, hey, would you make a few jokes beforehand? I'm like, no. Because no one is ever funny and no one's here to see me. They just want to know who won. Like, it's not like... It's Can I also congratulate you on your Chappie episode of At Midnight? I know it was a long time ago.
Thank you very much.
I was,
Really.
like, honestly on the point of crying.
Thank you, Dale.
By the end of that show. Because it wasn't just Chappie. I know there was a few running gags that night, but they were all, like...
And that helped make Chappie the number one.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, hang on. Even I mean, listen, I'm a huge fan of Neil Blomkamp. Like, District 9, I think, is one of the greatest, especially when you look at District 9 and you go, okay, how does he make this for almost no money? And then you look at Transformers and you're like, and you have all the money in the world, you got no fucking excuse. But with Chappie, it was a little like, I miss it. I
Chappie,
don't
there was
know.
just something funny about the title.
Yes.
Chappie. B, the premise. It just became this stupid-looking robot on the.
It was basically Short Circuit.
It seemed like
It was
something.
Short Circuit.
And it seemed like no one gave a shit
I'm surprised
about
he
it.
didn't just go, number 5 is alive.
I mean, that's what my most favorite thing is going on television, and they asked for the plugs, and all I promoted was the fact that I was going to be at a screening, just watching it at 7:30 p.m.
Wait, can we also say, did anyone else see the thing? And I don't like to, this is just like, I'm not talking shit about somebody. I sort of am, but I'm not. I'm about to tell a story. But it was like it's a public thing. But has anyone seen the Shia LaBeouf thing that's going on right now in New York?
Yes, it's amazing.
I haven't seen it yet.
Have you checked
He's
in on
live
that?
streaming?
No, he's watching all of his movies in reverse chronological order in a theatre for 3 days, and you can go and watch them with him.
You could just go sit with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, at any time.
He hangs out at our gym. He just hangs out there.
Yeah, in jeans, works out.
Yeah, there's a gym that
deadlifts.
Matt and I
It's
both
just
go
like-
to, and he just hangs out there.
It's just the weirdest thing, though, because that is like my idea. Like, if there's a hell and I go there, that is what my hell will be.
Watching
Will
all of
be
your
me
films.
watching all of my films, like forever.
Then you get to quiet people that, shh, that's the best part. You get to quiet them down.
And for a lot of people, hell is watching all of Shia LaBeouf's movies in reverse chronological order.
You just made me think of it because it's the Transformers. I was
Do you
like,
think
oh, man,
does he
did you see
end
that?
with the Even Stevens movie?
I don't know. I do want to backtrack and say a little bit. I did not see Chappie. I don't know if Chappie...
I
Nor
haven't
did
seen
I.
Chappie.
I never saw
That's what's
it.
hilarious. That's what I loved
Might be a
about
really
it.
great movie.
You had no affiliation to
Might be a
it.
really good
That's
movie.
what was so good.
I just felt like the trailers didn't really sell it as well as if it's a really good
And
movie.
I have been on a lot of cross-country flights since that it was available to watch,
Yeah.
and I still skipped it.
Do you know what I did watch recently? That is a great, because I like kind of, I don't know if we talked about like the sort of my taste in like B movies the last time we spoke, but like I finally got around to watching Dragon Blade the other day. Which I don't know if you're aware of it. Is the Jackie Chan, John Cusack, Adrian Brody Chinese fight the Romans movie.
That's available on Delta right now.
It is. It's also available on demand.
I demand to see this movie.
Because we saw the trailer for it ages ago, and I was like, "This looks incredible," and it really is.
Really?
It's so worth watching, just because like there's some of the strangest performances. Jackie Chan's like really good. Adrian Brody's actually like full on giving a performance. John Cusack's just like American John Cusack.
Yeah, he's there.
He's just like fully American as a Roman centurion. It's
They cut to scenes. He's got 2 vape pens in his mouth.
I can't wait to see Dragon Blade.
And because also it's like there's clearly so much money has gone into it. So I think it's like some huge co-production, and it's it is a big movie. And there's one fight scene at the end where like all the different people from the Silk Road are there, and it's like the fight scene in Anchorman where just everyone.
Everyone brings everything.
It's really good. And I also watched San Andreas the other day, which is genuinely an
Also
awesome
a great plane movie.
I'm not like being at all ironic about that. Like I almost shed a tear. They thought they did the family stuff really well.
How could you
that
not?
movie. I'm such a fan.
I should watch it. I'm just the reason I'm being a dick about, because I think The Rock is fucking great. But the thing about it was that I got all nerdy about it because I know that none of the science and I know it's not supposed to be. I know it's not supposed to be, but but there was nothing remotely
But
accurate.
Paul Giamatti's giving it to you, so you kind of take it well. Like it's like you go, yeah, okay. And he has a couple of great lines that are clearly ad libbed. There's like
What am I doing in this movie?
no, he's great in it, and like, yeah, man, Dwayne Johnson is so good. He's like every movie he's been, and I like grew up loving WWF as it was then.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm just immensely happy every time I see him in a great.
Is there a rock or rap song that encapsulates the story at the end that rolls during the credits?
No,
there's not.
There is not. There's no like. There's no deeper, bluer.
I'm gonna shake it up with more love. Like there's no like Aerosmith kind of jam at the end.
Remember the Deep Blue Sea one?
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea.
Deepest, bluest. My hand is like a shark fin.
Well, you got LL
My hand is like a shark fin.
in the movie. Of course, he's
He
gonna
was so good in that movie.
record a
as well.
track.
I got
for
to
it.
show my fiance Deep Blue Sea for the first time. She'd never seen it.
Great film.
And
Samuel Jackson's death scene in that film.
it's such a great. And Tom Jane's just all ripped and just fucking like he's the dude. That movie is spectacular. I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
The
did that right.
other good plane movie right now is Terminator Genesis.
Okay.
I was really into watching that on a plane and not in a theater.
How many times have you seen Spectre?
Spectre I've only seen twice.
How is it?
So
Haven't seen
far?
it.
I really loved it.
Oh, cool.
I loved it just as a fan of James Bond movies. I
that's
thought it was
awesome.
like they threaded the needle of giving me everything I wanted, but apparently no one else.
But that's nice because you can feel they made the movie pure
Yeah,
for
But
you.
it's doing well.
It just felt
isn't it?
great.
Oh yeah, it's doing.
It's
amazing,
doing
yeah.
just fine. But when
Yeah.
adjusted for inflation, though, it's interesting. I was reading a big article in Bloomberg today about it, where it seems like it has to cross. They think it's going to peter out at about 180 million domestic. Right now, it's already at 300 million
Can you
worldwide.
peter out at 180 million?
Apparently, you can. And they were like adjusting it for inflation, and when they adjusted for inflation across all the James Bond movies, it's the worst opening since License to Kill.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know
Somebody
that.
was so pleased with themselves when they worked that out.
Yeah.
Like,
I get to
man.
deliver this bad
Yeah.
news.
But it jumped 30% from Sunday to Monday, which never happens. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah, they're
it's
doing
really-
just
James
fine. I think
Bond.
they'll make
Really a
another
hoot.
one.
They might make another one. They could make another one.
It'll be interesting because Sony this time doesn't have they're like they need a new distributor because the Sony deal's done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should we just distribute it ourselves?
Yeah, I think
What do
we
you
could.
got? What'd you bring? I got like $100.
I don't know if we have to pay for anything. We just get like Land Rover to pay for it, Aston
Okay.
Martin, Gillette, every fucking.
You could totally.
I feel like you've
Yeah.
made a convincing case. Then let's do this.
Let's pool our money.
20.
together.
You know what? 15, 20 years, you could be a Bond.
I don't really think so. I don't know. I'm trouble seeing myself that way because James was asked this question the other day, and he was saying basically the same thing. Like, I feel like also like the cool roles in that films are like the bad guys,
The villains, yeah.
Like that's sort of what I mean. Not to disparage Daniel Craig, obviously, because he's amazing as Bond, and he has been amazing as Bond. But like, it's sort of the villains and how you remember the films.
Sure.
In a way. Like those are the characters.
Because they're the only things that really change. I mean, Bond is
Yeah,
basically the
exactly.
same. You know
Dave
he's going to go in.
Batista's great as the
Is he?
fucking henchman. Yeah, he's great. Where did he come from? Like, his acting was not very good when he was wrestling.
I got to talk
Guardians of the Galaxy
recently.
is
I
great.
got to hang out with a guy on set who's a stuntman who had worked previously as like a wrestler and was just like telling me like amazing stories about who's super cool and like the Hardy Brothers are awesome apparently. And just like just about the process of wrestling and how it works. It was like fascinating.
It is
Do you think do you
fascinating.
ever see yourself starting to produce things that revolve around?
I thought you were going to say stepping into the
Wrestling, me
ring.
too.
Would you want to step in the ring?
Oh no!
I mean, do you think it's
I
time?
went to one.
Do you want a shot at the title?
No, I just.
What if I just like called out whoever's the champion?
Please
No.
Hi, this is Dan Radcliffe.
I think he had to
You're a
vacate because he
pussy,
got
and
injured at the
I
last
wanna-
pay-per-view. He had to vacate the title.
Who did?
Whoever was
Who
the
was the-
champion right
who's
now had to
losing now?
vacate. I forgot.
But you know, when you look at something like that, and you know, is it do you go? Oh, I'd love to. Would you ever do you try to produce or seek out projects that are based on things like that you love, or do you feel like no, I'd rather just be entertained by it rather than get involved with
Yeah,
it?
pretty much. Like I mean, that's the thing. Like I love like big disaster movie type things, but I think I'd kind of probably be shit in them. Like I don't necessarily think that like. Because that's the thing, I don't know. I love watching them, but like I don't know if I had to like Paul Giamatti deliver a load of kind of bullshit science, that if I would believe myself doing that. I know, although, like...
Are you promoting a movie full of bullshit science right
Actually,
now?
kind of, I suppose.
I think you can do it, Daniel.
The difference between a movie like San Andreas and Victor Frankenstein.
What, Mary Shelley wrote it? Great.
Well, it's the idea that I think there's a certain amount of suspended disbelief when you go into a movie like, when he discovers, like how to reanimate the dead. Going into that, well, the science on this doesn't check out. But for a contemporary disaster film that presupposes the worst disasters are going. There's going to be a confluence of the worst disasters all at one time, and it's going to be.
Well, that's the thing. They do stick to one disaster, though, in San Andreas.
Oh, it is.
It is just earthquakes. It's not like earthquakes that cause tornadoes, that cause volcanoes or something else.
Well,
there's a tsunami, but that's...
You're onto something.
Yeah. Oh. But, like, that's... I don't think I get it. I could... Yeah, I don't know if I'll be as good in those...
Should we have James Bond fight a tornado in our movie?
We should have James Bond fight Mothra, I think. James Bond versus Gamera or Mothra. I think one of those would be really great.
I don't hate that idea.
I think it'd be fucking great. I wish... if I were ever a crazy billionaire, I would just buy properties and just fucking mash them up. All right, I'm not...
I believe you're getting married to a...
All right, let's...
Not crazy billionaire.
Let's just take it down several notches.
What would you do? Because I want to have this on tape so I can play it at the wedding reception.
Not really... We're here to talk about Dan.
I'm kind of interested too now. I didn't know any of that.
Chris, what would you do if you were a crazy billionaire in this outlandish tale?
You can cut this out, Katie. My fiance's great-grandfather was William Randolph Hearst.
Oh, wow!
See, Daniel Radcliffe's laughing at you, Chris.
That is a name.
You can't cut this out, but send the file to me.
That is
What a thing to be teased about.
Well,
it's hilarious. But you just said a statement. If I was ever a crazy billionaire,
the way you said it was also great, because you were just like, so there's a thing.
Listen, I should probably just get this
Don't
out
worry,
of the
I'll say
way.
really quickly. That's amazing. That's really cool. Have you watched it again?
We've not watched it. No, we haven't watched it together.
Has she talked about it? Is there an opinion of it within the family?
Great question. Daniel, thank you.
I think the opinion is fine as far as I know, but I don't know. I think they haven't. I think they honestly haven't really watched it. And the first time that it was referred to, I laughed heartily because it came up. We were talking about something about. We were talking about. I think we may have been talking about Orson Welles, and then she just very casually said, "Oh, well, when you made the movie about my great-grandfather," I was like, "With a movie about your great-grandfather? You mean that as a kid?" Like, it was one of those.
That's amazing.
But it wasn't. It was very casual. It was very casual.
That's.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
But I didn't mean to steer us off topic. What would you do if you were a crazy billionaire?
I would mash up a bunch of weird.
I love this idea.
I would buy the rights to things and then just force them together.
That would be amazing.
I would put James Bond in a movie with Super Mario Brothers.
I would want to do a movie that will never get made, but it would be some shit goes down in London that causes Batman to go to London, and then Her Majesty's Secret Service they're like, oh, this is a threat. We gotta send our best agent after him. You have Batman full gadget arsenal, Bond full gadget arsenal, and they just go head to head.
It's actually kind of a great idea.
Like
the fights would be great because
they'd be amazing.
Kind of
they're both
humans.
Yeah.
It almost kind of sounds more interesting than Batman versus Superman.
Yes, it is much
because they both have to. They're more levels.
Yes.
They're more.
And you do a fight at a fucking event party where he's just Bruce Wayne in his tuxedo and Bond's in his tuxedo, and
oh
they
my
have to
god!
go
I want this now.
Come on.
I mean, it is a really good idea. It's such a shame. It would be so hard to make.
World's greatest detective versus the world's best spy.
Oh man, that's so good. Because I was just thinking about Roger Rabbit yesterday, and about how.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised. Chris is just tucked into bed.
Remember when his wife played patty cake on him with Marvin Ackman? I was thinking about how that I mean, although Wreck-It Ralph did that to a degree, but the gaming industry
They did,
was a little more open
They
to
did.
it. But that type of film IP and television IP,
Right.
that will never happen again because everyone's so protective of their
also
IP.
like the Lego Movie. That's what's so good about that.
Yeah.
as well, because Lego has the licenses to all of those characters.
Oh, I guess you're right about
Yeah.
that.
So but
you're right,
but it's
that's
a
true.
rare thing.
Yeah.
You're absolutely, and there is something incredibly cool about it. And now, like, it's going to be increasingly hard to do that. But that was amazing about the Lego Movie. I feel like there was a Harry Potter reference in there somewhere. I feel like Dumbledore.
Wasn't there a Dumbledore? Yeah, there was like a
Yeah.
Dumbledore thing in there.
It was Dumbledore and Gandalf, maybe. Or maybe it was Hagrid. I don't know. But it was. I was very pleased. It's one of those weird things where, like, whenever lots of those things are being listed or like they go through those classic cult things, there's a small party that goes like, they better mention Potter in a minute. Come on.
I mean, why didn't they mention the... I mean, I don't want to be weird about it, but...
Is it weird that we're not on that list?
I mean, pretty big fucking movies, right? Pretty big movies. But I mean, bigger than... You start listing off all the movies that are bigger than this. It's fucking bigger than this.
I mean, like, we've done... I mean, Lord of the Rings, like, whatever, but we've
There's
more than
still
that.
there's still a small billboard for the last Harry Potter movie that's sitting up on Hollywood Boulevard that hasn't been taken down. It's like, how long is this just gonna sit here?
Just to remind people,
crazy.
I have to tell you, we went to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal,
I did as well.
and
was a hoot.
Hogsmeade is almost done, and then you can see the outline of Hogwarts up on the cliff.
Yep.
But it wasn't lit, so it just looked like this ominous. It looks because I haven't been to the one in Orlando.
It's so good.
That's the best.
It's like, that's the thing. I was so skeptical when all that stuff was going on and being made, and I was like, is this just, it's going to be done for money and not well, and and it's. But then they included, like, Stuart Craig, who's the production designer on the films, like designed the part, which means it looks amazing and the queues are long. Because like you spend 2 hours
Yeah.
getting to Ollivander's one shop, and it's like a room this big, so the queue is.
My sister.
I feel like you might have it in. I feel like you might have it in.
I did. We went actually, and it was amazing because it was just like we went before it opened, so it was kind of like we had our own theme park for the day.
Oh, that's incredible.
And we went. And you go into the one shop, and there's a guy in there playing Ollivander, who is like in character.
Yeah.
And even with us, he was like, "Hey, hello, welcome." And there was this party that wants to go. You don't need to. It's okay. Like, it's us.
Did he give you the same wand, or did he choose a different wand?
I can't remember.
I could see him doing both. I could see him going, well, I'm going to stick to the script, or I can see him going, I'm going to surprise him.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember what happened, but they were all. But that's the thing. I got there and it was like, wow, this is genuinely like amazing. And for kids, like
That's my sister works at Universal Orlando
really?
in the dark arts or something. She's
really?
like, yeah, she has to be in
cool.
character all day. It's like, all right.
that's awesome.
So I bought so much because the shop is open where they
Yeah.
have all the stuff.
Sure.
I bought so much Ravenclaw stuff.
As it is. I mean, Warner Brothers.
How did you end up with your strong Ravenclaw affiliation? Did you just get sorted on the
I
Baltimore?
did get sorted, and I also when I really kind of thought about it. Here's how I think it sort of breaks down.
Yeah, no, totally, no, it's not. It's just really not a bone of contention.
Oh boy, I'll just put this down while Chris goes into this.
I think Gryffindors are probably more of the jocks of Hogwarts because they win the house cups, they win
Right.
they win the Quidditch contest. I feel like the Ravenclaws are more of like the snarky nerds. I feel like the Slytherins are kind of the obnoxious shitheads.
You just made me remember the joke.
What?
Go on.
And then the Hufflepuffs are kind of the derpa derps.
That's the thing. That was when that was what the Harry Potter logo that midnight that made me howl with laughter was when you just trolled you stupid Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
It was
Oh my
just
God.
I imagine you got so much.
I
hate
get
for that
so
as
much.
well.
So a lot of people did not have a sense of humor about that. It turns out a lot of them was like, "Fuck you, the Badgers," and I'm like, "Okay, come on." We're
That's the thing.
obviously.
It's obviously joking, and like I feel like they should just be making jokes back. That's the.
Some people really did. Some people really did, but then other people
But
were
let's
really.
be genuinely offended. You're like, no, guys.
No, I was just
don't
fucking
be-
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lydia got sorted into Slytherin, and I got sorted into mine.
Which
and-
one's the fat kids? Where do they go? I'd be there.
Hufflepuff.
Great. Into it. Into it. We're gonna have so many
I mean,
snacks.
I'm not a sorting hat or anything.
We're gonna have
Yeah, he doesn't really
so
have-
many magical
Yeah.
snacks.
But
I'm not wading into this one.
so the Vicar Frankenstein comes out Thanksgiving week.
Yes, Thanksgiving, November 25th, I believe.
That's
Yeah.
Wednesday. Before Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
That's
That was
perfect.
Thanksgiving week. And it's the thing I loved about it was that it's like it was a studio movie that had this kind of at the heart of it. It's Igor's not in the book, so it's not by any means a faithful retelling of the book, but it is what it takes from the book is the sort of argument of man's relationship to technology and science, and the fact that we live, as sort of written as a response to the fact that we always live in this sort of dual state of extreme gratitude to what technology and science does for us, and kind of a fear of what it can do in the wrong hands. So it was kind of fun that there was this stuff happening on one side of the film, but actually the main thrust of the film was just like this kind of entertaining, chaotic, like ride through 1850s London with these two guys making monsters.
I mean, it just feels like a fun take. I mean, it's similar to. The first time you saw Guy Ritchie's Sherlock, you're like, oh, this is really fun.
Right.
What a fun take on these guys and this character that we already know, and just a different different spin.
I like the trailer a lot because it seems really frenetic. It all just reminds me of the scene in Back to the Future 2 where Doc and Marty have landed in 1955 and they're running. One runs this way with exposition, and then runs back, and they're running back and forth talking to each other.
There's a lot of that. I don't know how many miles I ran for this film, but like I did a huge amount of running for this film. I chased quad bikes and cameramen and all kinds of stuff. It was great.
I love it.
But yeah, and that was what's fun about it for me as well. Was like it's the first time I've got to do a lot of that kind of like stunt stuff since Potter, because if you're playing Allen Ginsberg, there's less stunt action. So it's it was fun to be able to like do all that kind of crazy shit again, and be on like mad huge sets. The sets are amazing, which they make the film look like it was made for a lot more money than it was, and Fabian, the DOP, and Gianni, our costume designer, are all responsible for that as well. So it's a lot of fun. Like I hope people enjoy it, and it is it's as you say a new take, and everyone keeps doing this thing where they're like, oh, so many Frankenstein movies, come on. You're like, we've had 3 Spider-Mans, and we're going to get another one in like
we're about to get more.
Like, we're about to get more. Like
there's been 5 Spider-Mans in the past 15 years.
This place is lousy with Spider-Man.
So many Spider-Mans. Where are all these goddamn Spider-Men coming from?
So I
it's that
feel
Kimmy
like
Schmidt joke. There's a play in Kimmy Schmidt. I highly recommend watching the show. Yeah. It's amazing. Tina Fey hit a home run here again. But there's a fake play in it called Turn Off the Dark, or Too Many Spider-Men, or something like that.
It's just the actual name of the Spider-Man musical.
I forget what the play is called, but it's like the subtitle is Too Many Spider-Men, and the people keep getting injured from Spider-Man falling onto other Spider-Men. And like in the audition process, Titus has to act and like as part of the audition, and it's directed by the third Affleck brother. In the audition process, the guy has to jump off the ladder onto Titus to see if he could still act after getting hit by a Spider-Man.
There was
it's great.
There was a friend of mine who I worked with on the musical I did in New York. Who's like one of the most physically capable, fit, disciplined people I've ever met. He got down to like the final auditions for Spider-Man, and to be one, I think maybe the Green Goblin or Spider-Man do a lot of that kind of stuff, and just went to final audition and was like, then they presented him with like this huge metal thing that he would have to wear on his head as he was on wires swinging around, and that above that was and he had no eyes, really couldn't really see, and he was just like, okay, yeah, no, I'm going. This is not safe.
I'm gonna die.
And it was not.
I've got to go do the Queen musical in the West End.
We'll just do some. Yeah, we will rock you. It's very simple. Do you have some time off now, or are you going to go back and do something else?
I am promoting this and promoting Vic's Frankenstein really badly on this show because I barely talked about it.
I love it.
No, it's in there. It's in there.
It's in there, and I've talked about it. I've talked about it a lot recently, so it's people. I've been talking about it, and that's what's fun about coming to this show and doing it is I get to talk about other.
And we'll also front load the show with. We'll front load the show. We'll talk about it too, so it'll get epic. Plenty of plugs.
But yeah, so I'm promoting this, and then I am hopefully going to take a holiday in December, and then after that, I'm going to start a film hopefully next year in February. But like everything else that I'm interested in, like it's one of the weird indies that is, I don't know. I don't think this one is particularly dependent on the whims of millionaires that just have run money through it.
Or hilarious billionaires.
Oh, hilarious billionaires. But like, so I think this one seems like it's definitely happening as definitely as anything can be. But you know, it's hard because like that's what this year feels like a real victory because we got Swiss Army Man and also Imperium, the one I just finished, which is why I shaved my head. We got both of them made, and they were both indies, and it always feels like a massive victory when you get one of those over the line.
I was gonna say you got a good shaped head.
Yeah.
I think every dude should shave his head at one point in his life just to see.
Did it?
And you have a good shaped head.
I know,
Terrible idea. I did it once.
But you have to. But now you know.
I know.
And when anyone says,
and I know that I'm going to keep Rogaine handy. Can't let the Lord take this away from me. Once I can afford hair plugs.
Yeah, you and McAvoy both basically probably have shaved heads right now.
We both have shaved heads right now. Yeah, we look like we're, and everyone's like, "It's so crazy. Did you do this together?" I was like, "Yeah, no, we sat together and shaved each other's heads."
We shaved each other's head and we picked like apes. We shaved each other.
We were supporting each other's roles.
He's doing it. His is actually not for Xavier. It's for Split. With M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm not Shyamalan.
Yeah, because he's Xavier pre